Imagine an oceanic event so vast and powerful that it rivals the great migrations of Africa, but unfolds hidden beneath the waves. For just a few short weeks each year, South Africa's coastline transforms into the stage of the world's most extraordinary marine feast. It's an underwater drama so wild and chaotic that it draws dolphins, sharks, whales, seabirds, and even humans from across the globe to witness nature's greatest show. This is the Sardine Run, an oceanic migration so immense, so mysterious, that it challenges everything we thought we knew about life in the sea. Each winter, usually between May and July, billions of small silverfish known as South African sardines, or Sardinopsagax, surge northward along the country's eastern coast. Their numbers are so great that the shoals can stretch for kilometers, over 7 kilometers long, more than a kilometer wide, and up to 30 meters deep. From the air, the ocean darkens with a shifting, living shadow that looks like a river of silver moving through blue water. Scientists and locals alike wait eagerly each year for the first signs of the run, a tradition that has existed for over a century. But what drives this massive migration? For decades, that question puzzled marine biologists. Today, we understand that a mix of oceanography, climate, and ancient instinct all play a part. The journey begins at the Agulhas Bank near the southern tip of Africa, where cold, nutrient-rich waters rise from the depths, feeding vast schools of plankton and small fish. Sardines spawn in these rich waters, and as winter sets in, they begin to move north, following a temporary corridor of cold water created by seasonal changes. Normally, the warm Agulhas current along the east coast forms a barrier, too hot for these temperature-sensitive fish. But when the current weakens, swirling meanders of cold water called Natal pulses appear, forming a narrow path of survivable conditions between 14 and 20 degrees Celsius. It's a rare, fleeting opportunity, and the sardines take it, hugging the coast as they move north. Not every year produces a successful run. When the cold water corridor doesn't form, the migration can collapse entirely. But when it does happen, the result is spectacular. From above, the sea seems to boil. Below the surface, the movement of sardines triggers one of nature's greatest feeding frenzies. Common dolphins, sometimes numbering in the thousands, arrive first. Using echolocation and remarkable teamwork, they herd sardines into tight, spherical bait balls. These shimmering orbs, each containing thousands of fish, are the centerpieces of the run. Dolphins take turns diving through the ball, snapping up fish, while others circle around to keep the sardines contained. Soon, sharks join in, bronze whalers, blacktips, spinner sharks, darting in from below and the sides, each using speed and strategy to grab their share. Above the surface, the sky fills with seabirds. Cape gannets, terns, and cormorants dive at tremendous speeds, plunging as deep as 30 meters to snatch their prey. When a bait ball forms, the ocean becomes a frenzy of motion. Dolphins slicing through, sharks circling, birds bombarding from the air, and occasionally a whale bursting through the middle to swallow hundreds of kilograms of fish in one gulp. It is one of the rare times in nature where so many apex predators hunt together, each benefiting from the chaos created by the others. But the sardines are not defenseless. Their survival strategy is built on unity. By swimming in vast synchronized shoals, each fish reduces its chance of being eaten, a phenomenon known as the dilution effect. The flashing of their silver bodies confuses predators, creating what scientists call the confusion effect. When danger increases, the sardines compress into a dense, rapidly shifting sphere. Within this bait ball, they communicate through subtle pressure waves detected by a sensory organ called the lateral line. Without any leader, they move as a single, coordinated superorganism, expanding, diving, or bursting apart in response to attacks. It's an astonishing display of collective intelligence evolved over millions of years. Still, survival is uncertain. Many sardines never return to their spawning grounds. Some scientists now believe the sardine run may even be an evolutionary relic, an instinct that once offered an advantage, but now often leads these fish into an ecological trap, where predators and warm waters await. For humans living along the KwaZulu-Natal and Eastern Cape coasts, the sardine run is far more than a spectacle. It's a way of life. Each winter, when word spreads that the sardines have arrived, entire communities rush to the beaches. Fishers cast their nets, families fill buckets and baskets, and local markets burst into life. For many, this event provides essential food and income. Tourism also surges as divers, photographers, and marine enthusiasts from around the world arrive to witness the phenomenon firsthand. Hotels fill up, boats line the harbors, and dive operators lead expeditions into the heart of the action. Scientists too flock to the region, using drones, tagging equipment, and underwater cameras to study the migration in greater detail each year. But with opportunity comes responsibility. Conservationists emphasize that sustainable fishing, community involvement, and marine protection are crucial if the Sardine Run is to endure for future generations. Responsible ecotourism, when managed well, can help protect marine life, provide education, and ensure that local communities benefit fairly from this natural wonder. Yet, the Sardine Run's future is far from guaranteed. Climate change is altering the ocean currents and temperatures that make the event possible. Studies show that since the mid-20th century, the run has been arriving later each year, with some years seeing no visible migration at all. As sea surface temperatures rise, the narrow corridor of cold water along the coast is shrinking. If it disappears entirely, the sardines may no longer be able to make their journey north, or they may move deeper and farther offshore beyond human sight. At the same time, overfishing continues to reduce sardine populations, putting pressure on predators like dolphins, penguins, and gannets that depend on them for food. Without careful management and global efforts to address climate change, the greatest oceanic feast on Earth could become a thing of the past. The Sardine Run is more than a migration. It is a living symbol of balance between ocean and climate, predator and prey, human and nature. It teaches us that even the mightiest natural spectacles can be fragile. Our choices, how we fish, how we protect habitats, how we respond to climate change, will decide whether this extraordinary event continues to thrive or fades into memory. To witness the Sardine Run is to witness the heartbeat of the ocean itself. Billions of lives moving in rhythm, driven by instinct, shaped by history, and now dependent on us. Perhaps the real question is not how long the run will last, but whether we will act in time to ensure that future generations can still look out across the waves and see that shining living river of silver surging through the sea.